or Ginger Snap. My face may look familiar because I've been around for all of the outreach sessions yesterday and today. And I'm the camp op coordinator. So I do a lot of random stuff, but one of the biggest things that I do is work on intake. I was a student at Camp Kesem in Utah Valley. I loved it. And I've been on staff for almost 5 years. So hanging around, doing the thing. And Dobby is here. Dobby, one of our newest program coordinators. If you haven't met Dobby, you should. He is a light in everyone's life. So grateful to have him here supporting too. All right, let's jump in. Okay, we've heard this buzzword a couple times now if you've been on the last few sessions, right? Camper orientation calls. What is that? GSNAP. So the intention of these calls is to provide a touch point with families after they apply and much sooner than right before camp. So what we saw historically happening, you all are busy as college students. You got a lot of things that you're managing, right? So the intake process of a camper application coming in and being reviewed and marked as applied is totally out of your hands because we didn't want to overwhelm you and make you worry about that. Then it was too far out of your hands, I think, to where a lot of times applications didn't get looked at until right before camp. So we're hopeful that this process will allow us to be in contact with families sooner and really provide the support that we need to those families. Additionally, we have a whole camper orientation call guide that has everything that you need. How do applications flow through? What's the orientation call process? Do I have call scripts for contacting these families? Absolutely. You have all the resources that you need. And then we also have the Kesem Central Administrator Guide that shows you how to get into the nuts and bolts of managing Kesem Central, which I know can be a little bit tricky, especially at first if you haven't looked at it recently. So overall, our entire purpose is to provide campers with the support that they need to have a successful week at camp. And it's going to be an adjustment for every single person. I don't think that even returning families counselors are going to know exactly what to expect out of summer 2022. And so this is going to give us that touch point to really make sure that everyone feels supported and ready for camp. All right. Part of my job, like I said, I oversee a lot of random things, but part of the job is survey results. And 44% of post-Kesem at home respondents to our survey that says, how do you feel about Kesem? And asks a whole bunch of questions. They're not receiving invitations to chapter events. Yikes. Now, whether that's true or not, that's what they're feeling, right? So they're not getting the 15 emails from Gap every day like Dottie was getting. If you didn't watch that session, I'm sorry, but you should go back and watch it because it was really great. They're not getting emails. They're not getting communications. That's a pretty high number for people to say, I have not received communications from Camp Kesem. Additionally, these are some quotes that I pulled out from the surveys to talk about why are we doing this? Why is this important? So some families, when we asked about correspondence and just any sort of communications that they get from Kesem, the first thing they said was, I'd be happy to start with getting what's listed here. They're not getting anything that we listed as an offering or an invitation. Additionally, someone said, I also heard there was supposed to be an invite to an in-person Friends and Family Day, but we haven't received it. Looks like we aren't receiving invites to monthly virtual cabin chats either. So there's something happening that families are saying, I'm not hearing from Kesem outside of the week of programming. And obviously this is from Kesem at home. So we all know things have been upside down for the last 3 years. But this is some feedback that we can take action on and improve. On the flip side, we want to look for these positive things, right? Communication was outstanding. I got emails and phone calls, and everyone in the process was incredibly organized and clear. I didn't have any concerns about logistics or structure or any of that. We knew exactly what was happening and when, and they were extremely effective communicators and represented Kesem to the fullest. I think a monthly correspondence for local chapters to the campers would be great. They want to hear from you. We're regular attenders of all the programs and love every opportunity we have to connect with the staff and other campers. So the measure of success for me is going to be that every single one of your families is going to say something incredible about you as outreach coordinators, because you're great communicators and all of the trainings that you're attending are 12 out of 10, and you just are going to feel so good at your job. All right. First question, why does every family need a camper orientation call? And you can unmute yourself or pop it in the chat, and I would like at least 3 responses, please.
To calm nerves.
Yes, calm nerves. Incredible. Do you know how nerve-wracking it would be as a parent to send your kid to Kesem? I'm a mom now, and I would be terrified to send my child to Kesem, and I did it. Like, I know that y'all are competent. All right, 2 more. Anyone else? Have the opportunity to ask questions. Yes. Ask questions about camp, address anything that they're worried about. Totally. You want to make them feel good, feel included in the conversation and welcome. Yes. Wouldn't it be so nice for them to be like, oh my gosh, Gizmo, I talked to you on the phone. I now know who you are. This is great, right? Yeah, we want everyone to feel welcome and included and hyped for camp. You know how many families are like, oh shoot, I forgot I applied for that thing and now I can't come. It happens more often than you think. So we are going to curb that. The biggest thing that we want to talk about here though is building that trust. We really want to make sure that families trust us to care for their children for a whole week. If you were on the last session with Hannah Alaska, she did a great job talking about this, right? We have so many aspects of supporting kids. We're their guardians for the week. We feed them and we make sure that they clean themselves, not very well all the time, but there's a lot of things that we're responsible for when they come to camp outside of just making sure that they have fun. So we really need to make sure that those parents trust us. This one, if you feel comfortable sharing out, cool. If not, I would love for you to just write down to yourself, whether that's pen and paper or on your notes in your phone or whatever, but in your personal life, what helps you trust others? So maybe it's within Kesem, your coordinator, or your director, or people that you work with within Kesem. Maybe it's just at school, you have a professor or a classmate that you really trust. At work, if you have a coworker or your boss is someone that you really trust, or just in your social circles with family or friends or something. So think about someone that you really, really trust. And why do you trust them? What are reasons that you have gained trust in them? I'm going to give you all about 2 minutes. And again, this is just for yourself. So you can share it, but no, this is a more personal question. Okay, take about 30 more seconds, finish up your thought. Send this person a text, maybe, I don't know, make them feel good. So during this time, the person that I thought of, obviously there's more than one person in my life that I trust, but someone that I really trust a lot is one of my best friends from high school. I've known her since I was 12 years old. And I would trust her to tell me everything from like something that is secret to her, or that she like really trusted me, or if I'm like having a bad hair day, she's not gonna let me leave the house like that, or she'll give me a pump up, you know. And she lives in Texas and I live in Utah, so we're not very close geographically anymore, but I know that if I picked up the phone tomorrow, she would be there at the drop of a hat, right? So I'm really grateful that I have that relationship, but I think that what went into it, what built that trust, is that continually, time and time again, I could rely on her. And over time, we had a lot of experiences and touch points that proved to me that she was someone that I could trust. So we're going to watch a little clip. Brene Brown, don't know if y'all are fans of Brene, react in the chat. Would love to see it. We're going to watch this little clip. Just a couple minutes, but I think that this is a really great illustration of why trust matters, especially when working with our camper families. Oh, you know what? Before I share, I'm going to make sure that my sound is also sharing. Is that a thing I have to do separately? I'm just going to press play, and Dobby, let me know if it's not working.
So as a researcher, I start looking into the data. I gather up the doctoral students who've worked with me. We start looking, and it is crystal clear. Trust is built in very small moments. And when we started looking at examples of when people talked about trust in the research, they said things like, Yeah, I really trust my boss. She even asked me how my mom's chemotherapy was going. I trust my neighbor. Because if something's going on with my kid, it doesn't matter what she's doing, she'll come over and help me figure it out. You know, one of the number one things emerged around trust in small things? People who attend funerals. This is someone who showed up at my sister's funeral. Another huge marble jar moment for people. I trust him because he'll ask for help when he needs it. How many of you are better at giving help than asking for help? Right? So asking for help is one of those moments. So one of the ways I work as a grounded theory researcher is I look at the data first, then I go in and see what other researchers are talking about and saying, because we believe the best theories are not built on other existing theories, but on our own lived experiences. So after I had looked at this, I said, let me see what the research says. And I went to John Gottman, who's been studying relationship. He has an amazing work on trust and betrayal. And the first thing I read, trust is built in the smallest of moments. And he calls them sliding door moments. Sliding Doors is a movie with Gwyneth Paltrow from the 90s. Have y'all seen this movie? So it's a really tough movie because what happens is it follows her life to this seemingly unimportant moment where she's trying to get on a train. And she makes the train, but the movie stops and splits into two parts where she makes the train and she doesn't make the train. And it follows them to radically different endings. And he would argue that trust is a sliding door moment. And the example that he gives is so powerful. He said he was lying in bed one night. He had 10 pages left of his murder mystery. And he had a feeling he knew who the killer was, but he was dying to finish this book. So he said, I want to get up, brush my teeth, go to the bathroom and get back in and not have to get up. I just want, that feeling when you just want to get all situated and read the end of your book. So he gets up and he walks past his wife in the bathroom who's brushing her hair and who looks really sad. And he said, my first thought was just keep walking, just keep walking. And how many of you have had that moment where you walk past someone and you're like, oh God, avert your eyes. Or you look at caller ID or your cell phone and you're like, oh yeah, I know she's in a big mess right now. I don't have time to pick up the phone, right? Yes or no? This looks like guilty laughter to me. So he said, that's a sliding door moment. And here's what struck me about his story, because he said, there is the opportunity to build trust and there is the opportunity to betray. Because as small as the moments of trust can be, those are the moments of betrayal as well. To choose to not connect when the opportunity is there is a betrayal. So he took the breath.
All right, that's as much of that as we're gonna watch. Any thoughts on that? I'll take 2 answers. It was super boring. Got it.
I like how she sort of addressed that, like, by not taking the opportunity to build trust, you're doing the opposite. Like, it's not indifference, it's like could negatively impact it.
Totally. Think about our camper families, right? Like, I would venture to say that none of you are trying to have negative experiences with them, right? You're not trying to break these bonds of trust or to make them not want to come or attend programs, right? But even the act of not reaching out to them is causing these reactions. Incredible. Any other thoughts? That was someone unmuting. Leaving. Okay. Well, let's keep going. So we are going to do a little interactive thing, and even if you can't turn on your video or unmute, you can do this. So Dobby's going to put the link to this Jamboard in the chat, and everyone is going to just type the answers to this question. You can go on any slide, it doesn't matter. What can we do to build trust with camper families right now, from now, February 3rd? And you can add text I don't know if y'all have used this before, but you can add text in or sticky note or whatever. So anywhere on any of the 3 slides, and I'll share out the answers. I'm gonna give you all about say like 3 minutes or so. Put as many answers as you can. So what can we do to build trust with these camper families right now? Watching y'all move them around is like incredibly enjoyable.
Yes.
Okay, about 2 more minutes. Ooh, Be Like the Gap. So good.
That's what I liked.
I don't know if y'all can hear it, but my son's out there listening to Star Wars. So if you hear it in a second.
I love that.
All right, 1 more minute. Get as many answers as you can in there. And if you feel like, gee, Snap, I have the best answer on here, I'm proud of you and I want you to give voice to it. So if you feel like you have the best answer out of all of the answers, put your name in the chat. This is not a bragging moment. This is a humble moment of you being proud. Okay. Are those conflicting words? Probably, but. All right. I'm going to start reading these. And if you're like, that's me, take credit, and you can share out if you have ideas of how to do it. So respond to them in a timely manner. Yes. It's so easy to leave them on read, especially that darn Google Voice number. I think that's probably number 1. It's so hard, so confusing, and we never check it. Fast and detailed responses. Yes. If they ask a question, make sure that they have their entire question answered or not just part of it. And if you can't answer it right then, don't make up the answer. You can just say, I don't know right now. I'll get back to you. So you could still have that timely manner, and then actually get back to them, because that could be a broken trust moment. Keep reaching out to them, maintain consistent communication. Yes, just like the Be the Gap one. If you weren't on the session yesterday, Dottie said she gets an email from the Gap about every couple hours telling her to come back and check her cart, or here's a coupon, or make a purchase. And she keeps going back. Reintroduce yourselves in context so they can put faces to the names. Yeah, so that when they show up at camp, they're like, oh my gosh, Lucky, you're the one that keeps emailing me. Stop it. No, I'm just kidding. They're going to be so glad. Turn words into action. Yes. Answering questions quick, consistently, in a positive manner. Yes. Checking your emails always. If we say we're going to do something, we need to do it and follow through. Yeah. We tell people, hey, we're going to send you these things. We're going to hold a friends family day. We're going to send you an invite at this time, right? And I know that this one can be difficult as college students because y'all run on like a 20-minute schedule. Of like, I can only plan 20 minutes at a time. And families, they're trying to coordinate a lot of different schedules. So a lot of times they're planning months in advance, almost like making appointments, right? Check up on families. Yeah. If you haven't heard from them, that doesn't mean that they don't need your help. I think this is especially important right now when we're thinking about camper applications, right? If they haven't applied, maybe reach out to them and see why they haven't, see if we can help them. Open line of communication. I love this one. Super actionable. Have a Q&A session so they can meet you and ask questions. Yes. And it can be in person. It could be virtually. It could be office hours style. Updates about COVID quickly. Yeah. Number 1 question, I think, coming in right now. What are we doing about COVID? So updating them when we have information. These are all incredible. Provide resources with plenty of advance notice. That goes back to that like scheduling appointments one, right? So they're planning for camp right now in February, and camp is going to be May, June, July, or August, right? So think about that. They're going to need some advance notice for pretty much everything. And there's nothing on that one. Awesome. Great job, y'all. All right, let's jump into Kesem Central. I was going to screen share, but at the risk of my computer crashing while screen sharing and zooming and all of the things, we are not going to. So I'm going to just kind of like walk you through what it looks like with some screenshots. So when you log into Kesem Central, outreach coordinators have their own dashboard. And if you haven't looked at it, you should. It's getting refreshed and it's going to be beautiful and it's going to have so much relevant information for you. But this is one of the components on there that's specifically for camper orientation call progress. So you'll be able to see when you log in how many camper orientation calls you've completed, how many are in progress, and how many are unstarted. So right here, you'll see that 1 out of the 2 is unstarted and the other one has the dash. I don't know if you can actually see that, but that's what that says up here. If it has the dash, that's just the default. So it hasn't been changed to anything from applying. So you can go in and change all of them to unstarted if you'd like. On this component, there will be a hyperlink at the bottom. I cut it off because it wasn't fitting on the screen, but there will be a hyperlink that takes you to this report, camper orientation call progress report. So to get to the dashboard, you would click right here, this outreach tab. It'll drop down and you can click dashboard and it'll take you to that first view. And then you can click the hyperlink and it will take you to this report. You can also get to reports by clicking reports and you can search for the report by name there. So this is a report for Yukon. Shout out Yukon. I hacked your account and added some fake applications in there. So you're able to see all of your applicants and what the orientation call progress status is. So just like on that component, it said we had 1 in the dash and 1 unstarted, that should match here, ideally. And then we have the 2 applications, Ron Swanson and Ben Wyatt, and the orientation call flags at a glance. You're able to see, okay, I might need to talk to them about a couple things. So here are the things that I should talk to them about. This doesn't have everything that you might want to talk to a family about when you get on the phone with them, right? So it's still important for you to go and look through the whole application and you'll be able to click, it's right here, you can't see it, but you can click on the application hyperlink and read the entire application from top to bottom. Luckily for you, I've already downloaded them. So what I want you all to do, we're going to put you in groups of about, what did I say, Dobby? 4, 5?
4 to 5.
All right. So you're going to be in groups of 4 to 5. And I want you to use the camper orientation guide. And I'm going to drop you in the deep end right now. All right. So I want you to use the 2 applications that are here in the camper orientation call guide and figure out what would I do if I was calling this family for a camper orientation call. What do I need to talk to them about? What do I need to make sure that we touch base on? What details do I need to give them? And everything that you need to be successful in this is in the camper orientation guide. People are dropping now. They don't want if you are not able to participate actively in your group, you could do this one-off. That's totally fine. Or you could do it after the call, but definitely want you all to have this time to practice. So Dobby, I think already put them in the chat, right? So the resources that you need are linked in the chat, the guide, and then the 2 camper applications with all of the details. And you're going to go into your groups and figure out, what does this call look like? What do I need to talk to them about? What's an important flag? Okay. I'll give you all probably like 15 minutes in these groups.
Perfect. All right, here we go.
Great. And everyone's back too. All right, y'all, welcome back. Feel free to leave your cameras on. I love seeing all your faces. And I would love for you all to share out, what did you feel like was easy? And what did you feel like was a little bit more challenging? Or if you have any questions. And I would love to get maybe like 4 or 5 answers.
I feel like reading the application itself is pretty easy and like straightforward because everything is there, and it's it was really hard. I mean, it was really easy for our group to just go through it and be like, oh, like we could ask questions about this, and that. But then what I was confused about is how to use the orientation call guide. Maybe that's just me that's confused, but yeah.
Do you have a specific question about it, or do you want to walk through kind of the whole thing?
Or just like in what situation will we have to, I guess, is my question.
Yeah.
Or like if a situation came up that arises, like what would be an example and how would we use the call guide to answer it?
Incredible. Great question. Okay. Let me get to where that is so that I can share with you all. Thanks, Gizmo. Moana loved the checklist. Huge checklist person. Me too. Make it so much easier. Okay. So in the guide, you'll see these are the topics that I'm expecting you all to cover when you're making an orientation call. So does every family need an orientation call? React, thumbs up. If yes, thumbs down. If no. Also, I can't see, that may have been a bad move. Okay, I'm seeing some 2 thumbs up. Another thumbs up. Oh, we're up to 4 thumbs up. Yes, every single camper family needs to have a call, right? So if you have a family that has 3 children attending, you can just call that family one time. But every single camper family needs to have a call. So while we're looking at this is the checklist. So even if they don't have any flags in the application, you're going to want to make sure that you still call them and confirm like, hey, this is when our camp is and where it is. Because sometimes they signed up for the wrong week or the wrong session, and we want to make sure that they can attend. Then you can share any upcoming events that you have. So here are some examples. So the other thing here is the items in blue or bolded are the things that you would talk to every single family about. Then you have the orientation call flags, and these would be the optional ones. So if they're marked in the application, then you would want to contact the family about them. And then if they're not, you can just skip over that section. And then finally, what should families expect when they're approved? So let's say, I believe that one of the applications had dietary restrictions or allergies. So let's hop down to like, what do I do with this? I know that they have a dietary restriction and I need to talk to the family about it. You're going to hop down to the call scripts and find the one that is specifically for dietary restrictions. I thought I had a little thing here, but I don't. Well, it's in here somewhere. There it is. Okay, so here are some questions that you can ask the family when you call them. And then when you get through it all, you'll proceed to the next call script or just close the call. So if all they have is dietary restrictions or severe allergies, you'll run through these questions and the other blue bolded sections. And then you can say, thanks for talking with me. Let us know if you have any questions. Or you can go to one of the other ones if they have multiple flags. And then you'll notice there may be an additional note in the call script that says you need to communicate this with the campsite so that they serve food that is safe for that camper. Maybe you need to have a conversation with a local group or something like that. So these scripts are really to guide that conversation, and the checklist is to help you see what scripts do I need to use. And then there's something else. Once you gather the information, that's when you go into action. And Alaska talked about this a little bit in the previous session of like, how can we best support, right? So if we call and we find out, oh, we need a translator at camp, here are some examples in the guide of like how to fill these spots, which actually leads so great into the next slide that we're going to talk about. So Gizmo, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that does. Thank you. That's actually a lot more clear now.
Cool. Any other questions or takeaways here? Let's get maybe one more.
I didn't realize how thorough the questions in the application are. If like for sometimes when, if necessary, like if a camper or if a parent or guardian marks that like their camper has a physical disability or like a cognitive disability, there are a ton of follow-up questions that's really helpful to like review before that call. As far as like, you know, what can we do to best accommodate your camper? What are the ways that like your camper would best feel included? So I think that was something that I like didn't realize the application had. That's very helpful.
Love that. There's so much information and we make them fill it out. So let's use it, right? And make sure that they're really prepared. Thank you, Moana, for sharing. All right. So building off of what we were talking about previously, I would love for you all to just share in the chat. What are ways that we can fill the needs of individuals? So they've applied. We've noticed that they have needs that we need to accommodate for. We've made the orientation call and gathered information from the family. And now we're going to make sure that we can meet those needs. So let's say, for example, that a family marks that they are in need of supplies, specifically like camping. So like pillow, sleeping bag, blankets, maybe a coat for when it gets chilly at night. So what are ways that we can fill those needs specifically for that individual? In-kind donations. Heck yeah. We're balling on a budget always. More money equals more mission, more kids that get to serve with Kesem. So the more free, the better. In-kind donations are great. Any other ideas? Check with the campsite. They might have extras. Actually, I had a campsite one time that had extra sleeping bags. It was great because it was a lot colder than I thought it was going to be. And I needed one. My sleeping bag was not warm enough. Other things you could do, you could ask other camper families or maybe advisory board members if they have stuff that could be lent for the week, if we could borrow it and coordinate that. Use money in the budget to buy any supplies that can be donated. Absolutely. If we can't get it donated, we shouldn't say, sorry, fam, can't help you. So if it gets close to camp, we definitely want to purchase those supplies. The intent in starting now, February 3rd, is so that way you have plenty of time to try and get those items donated or other ways to support. So again, over here in the guide, you'll be able to go through each section that talks about how can we get these supplies? What are some general tips? What if I need an interpreter or translator? They need transportation. How does that work? How do we make sure that we can help everybody with the needs that they have? And then I would just recommend that you really work closely with your PC on this because they may have some other ideas or can connect you with community resources to make sure that everybody is covered. All right, we're going to finish early, but before y'all leave, there's a quiz, surprise. So good for you for attending early. Everybody who's not here right now will have to watch this recording and take the quiz. The quiz is linked in the Summit app, so you can take it before you leave. Or if you have the desktop version, you can click on it from there. So let's take a look at it. Maybe I'll give you a freebie. We could do it all together. Oh, well, this is awkward. It logged me out. Okay. So if you're in the app, I'm just going to use this desktop version. You should be able to click on the session for today. And it was the 3:15. This one. Just click on the session and there's the lovely quiz right here. I'll drop it in the chat for y'all too. Wholesale commit. Oh, yes. Dobby, I was so confused because I got confused with Magic Conch's name. I was like, yes, Vandy, you got it right. All right, question number 1. Y'all should already know this one. Who should get a camper orientation call? Everyone. Oh gosh, this is so embarrassing for me. Y'all just mark number 1. I need to go edit this. Report name number 1. It is the camper orientation. Let's see. This one, camper orientation call in progress. It wasn't done when I built this quiz. Behind the scenes, y'all. True or false? Student leaders can move applications from the wait list. Anyone know the answer to that? It's false. You cannot. You can request them to be moved, but you as a student don't have the capability to do that. It won't let you. Who can help with camper orientation calls? Or who cannot help, I guess, this question. And the answer is general body members. However, if you get them approved by your PC, they can help. So. This camper has flags for severe dairy allergy and is in need of supplies. Check all of the correct steps to be taken. All right, y'all. This is a lot of information and it is a new process. Thanks for jumping on this session today. You'll be having a one-on-one meeting with your program coordinator. They should be reaching out and scheduling that with you to take place after in-person summit. And then you can get started on some of your orientation calls. So what I would recommend with your next steps is to really get into the guide, read through it. I don't think you need to read through all of the scripts and everything, but at least the directions, make sure that you feel really confident and comfortable with those. Make sure that you can log into KSM Central and that you can find the correct report for you. And then you can start making notes of how to make these phone calls. And then if you have a lot of campers, and you want people outside of the outreach coordinators to assist with this, that's totally fine. They just all need to watch this recording, which will be linked in the app later, and sent out by your PC, and then complete the quiz that comes along with it. And then they'll be able to help you make those calls if you have a lot of campers. All right. Any last minute questions?
Am I allowed to ask a question from the quiz?
Say that again.
Am I allowed to ask a question from the quiz?
Oh yeah.
Are student leaders allowed to move applications from the waitlist?
You are not. Nope.
No. Okay. Thank you.
You can request that from your PC. They'll review that process with you, but you're not able to move them on your own. Should you call people on the wait list for orientation calls? This is not a question.
Yes.
Yes, you should. Awesome. And then Moana, the call, when is the earliest that you can start making these calls? Right now, because you did this. Hooray. So you can start now. And then you should have the call with your PC. I think we said by March 15th. So you have like about a month to meet with them. They're going to review all of this with you and make sure that you have everything that you need to support your camper specifically. So this is like high level. What does everyone need? And then we're going to zoom in, and it should be directors and outreach coords. Yeah, Moana. Awesome. Well, thank you all for making time to be here. I know that it has been a very busy season, so I appreciate it. And if you do have any questions, you can submit them in the app and we'll get all of that to make sure that we can follow up with you. So thanks, y'all. Have a good rest of your day.